So, have you ever had that specific, really infuriating moment when a device, I don't know, maybe your laptop or tablet or even just a kettle, it just fails? And suspiciously soon after the warranty runs out.
Oh, absolutely. Or, your phone working perfectly fine one day suddenly slows right down the second you install the latest OS update.
Exactly. If that sounds familiar, then you've definitely bumped up against planned obsolescence. And look, this isn't some accident. It's actually a deliberate strategy. Designing products with a limited lifespan, basically forcing you, the consumer, to buy a replacement way sooner than you should need to.
hmm It's really fundamental to a lot of modern business. Kind of cynical when you think about it.
Yeah. So today we're doing a deep dive. We've looked at sources exploring, the history of this, the huge impact it has financially, environmentally, and also the growing movement fighting back.
Right.
Our mission here is to quickly get our heads around how the system actually works, how it keeps its grip, and why it ends up costing you so much, both in your wallet and, well, for the planet.
And we can jump right in with the core idea, really. The main goal of planned obsolescence. It's not about quality, definitely not about making things last. It's purely about stimulating repetitive buying, keeping that demand churning,
And it mainly benefits the big companies.
overwhelmingly.
Yeah.
Large, wealthy corporations. And crucially, this whole thing relies on what economists call information asymmetry.
Okay. What's that exactly?
It means the producer knows the real story. They know the designed lifespan, the likely failure point, how to fix it, all of that.
Mm.
But you, the customer, you're kept in the dark.
Oh.
And that asymmetry, that imbalance of knowledge, is what turns your choice into, well, often a forced purchase.
And this information gap, it works better in certain market conditions, I guess, because surely in a really competitive market, wouldn't durability be a plus?
You'd think so, exactly. And our sources definitely point this out. PO thrives where there isn't tons of competition. Think oligopolies markets where just a few big players dominate.
Like smartphones, maybe?
Perfect example. If only, say, 3 or 4 companies make almost all the phones, they can kind of agree formally or maybe informally that devices only really need to last, I don't know, 4 years, not 10. The pressure to make them super durable just evaporates.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because this isn't just a recent tech thing, is it? It goes way back.
That's right. The sort of origin story for organized planned obsolescence is actually pretty famous, or infamous maybe. The Phoebus Cartel, back in the 1920s.
Phoebus Cartel, what was that?
It was basically all the big light bulb manufacturers of the day, Osram, Philips, GE, companies like that. They got together because they realized their products were actually becoming too good, lasting too long.
Wait, seriously, their problem was the light bulbs didn't break often enough. That sounds backwards.
From a purely sales perspective, it was. By 1924, light bulbs could easily last, 2,000, maybe 2,500 hours. So the cartel met, they formally agreed, and they even had fines if members didn't comply to deliberately limit the lifespan of standard bulbs to just 1,000 hours.
Wow, that's documented.
Oh yeah, fully documented. A massive, deliberate cut in quality, purely to sell more bulbs.
Mm.
And that really set the template for this kind of thinking across loads of industries.
That's actually quite shocking. A coordinated global effort just to make something worse for people, just to boost sales. What's fascinating here is you can see the line from that physical cap back then to what happens now, can't you?
It's precisely the same logic, just, digitized. Phoebus physically capped bulb life at 1,000 hours. Today, a tech company might functionally cap a device's life by just stopping the software updates it needs.
Right, so it works, but it can't run the latest apps or security patches.
Exactly. It becomes useless years before the actual hardware gives out. The method's different software, not filament life, but the goal. Identical. Sell more stuff.
Okay, that really clarifies things. But PO isn't just one thing, is it? It shows up in different ways. Our sources mention a few types.
Yeah, there's sort of 3 main flavors. The first one, especially relevant for tech, is dynamic obsolescence.
Dynamic, so that's about things changing.
Pretty much. It's when your product becomes less useful. Not because it's broken, but because something around it changed.
Yeah.
Usually software.
So, like, if I buy a perfectly good webcam, but then the next version of my operating system drops support for its driver, and I have to buy a new one even though the old one's physically fine, that's it.
That's exactly it. Or maybe new software just needs more processing power or more RAM than your older device has. It's not broken, it just can't keep up. Retired before its time.
Okay, got it. Then there's the second type. Less about function, more about looks, style obsolescence.
Right, this one's more psychological. Manufacturers just keep releasing new designs, new colors, new shapes, and it makes the older versions, even if they work perfectly, suddenly feel, well, old-fashioned,
Yeah.
undesirable.
Fashion is the obvious one here, isn't it? Things go out of style so fast.
Totally. Fast fashion is built on this. But interestingly, General Motors really pioneered this on a massive scale back in the 20s and 30s with cars.
Oh.
They introduced annual model changes. Not necessarily huge mechanical upgrades every single year, but they'd tweak the look, change the grille, the fins, the dashboard layout, so your perfectly good car from last year suddenly looked dated. They manufactured desire for the new look.
Clever in a way, and that brings us to the third type, the most kind of physical one, built-in obsolescence.
Yeah, this is the classic idea. Designing components knowing they have a limited life, choosing materials or assembly methods that are basically guaranteed to fail after a certain amount of use or time.
Like using a cheap plastic gear where really it should have been metal.
Exactly. Or sealing a battery inside a device so you can't easily replace it yourself, forcing an expensive repair, or more likely, a whole new device. It's the physical weak link put there on purpose.
Okay, so we've got software death, style death, and actual physical failure death. Let's maybe look at some specific industries. Tech seems like the big one now.
Absolutely. The smartphone industry is kind of the poster child for PO today. It uses both dynamic and built-in obsolescence. The pace of new models is relentless, and those demanding software updates push people to upgrade constantly.
And Apple got into hot water over this, didn't they? With the whole slowing down older phones thing.
That's the textbook case, yeah.
Hmm.
Performance throttling. Now, Apple and others often say it's about managing battery health on older devices, which, okay, that can be a genuine technical issue, but the result is the phone slows down noticeably.
Making you think, ooh, this thing is so slow, I need a new one.
Precisely. It nudges you towards an upgrade. And that's where they face lawsuits and big fines, right?
Yeah, I remember that. Because if they're doing it secretly, without really telling you clearly, that feels deceptive. It's that information asymmetry again.
Exactly. They faced a big class action settlement in the U.S., hefty fines in places like Italy,
Mm.
all because they were seen to be slowing phones down through updates, essentially pushing people to buy new models. It blurred the line between necessary battery management and, well, coercing a purchase. Right. And you see that dynamic obsolescence really clearly when a new OS just won't run on slightly older hardware, like iOS 16 needing an iPhone 8 or newer. Millions of perfectly functional iPhone 7s suddenly couldn't get the latest features or security updates. Their useful life was artificially capped.
And beyond tech, you mentioned GM earlier with the style changes for cars. That kind of set a trend, didn't it?
It really did. That idea of making last year's model feel obsolete is still around, maybe more subtle now, but fast fashion takes it to an extreme. Their whole business model depends on rapid style changes and things not lasting very long physically.
So the clothes are designed to be out in a few weeks and maybe fall apart after a few washes anyway?
Pretty much. It hits both style and built-in obsolescence hard, speeding up that cycle of buy, use briefly, discard.
It really highlights how PO is designed to just keep the economic wheels turning artificially. But while company profits might look good, the real cost seems massive, especially environmentally.
Oh, definitely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the environmental side is maybe the most shocking. The numbers are just staggering. Global e-waste discarded electronics hit 62 million tons in 2022.
62 million tons, it's hard to even picture that.
Think of it like the weight of over 10 Great Pyramids of Giza, just in electronic junk. In 1 year.
Wow. And phones are a big part of that.
Huge. Over 5 billion smartphones were thrown away or became e-waste in 2022 alone. 5 billion.
That's just incredible.
And it's getting worse. Projections show e-waste increasing by about 32% by 2030. These mountains of waste aren't just ugly, they're toxic. Full of lead, mercury, cadmium, nasty stuff that leaches into soil and water.
So planned obsolescence is directly feeding this environmental crisis. We keep digging up new resources instead of reusing what we have.
Exactly. It's a massive drain on resources and creates enormous pollution problems.
Okay, so this problem is huge, it's deliberate, it affects almost everything we buy. But people are fighting back, right? There's pushback. Here's where it gets really interesting. Let's talk about the strategies to actually combat this. Starting with the advocates. Yeah, the right to repair movement seems key here. What's the core idea?
It's pretty straightforward.
Mhm.
Demanding that consumers and independent repair shops get access to the things they need to actually fix products. We're talking affordable spare parts, repair manuals, diagnostic tools, schematics.
The stuff manufacturers often keep locked down.
Exactly. This movement directly challenges that information asymmetry we talked about. Manufacturers obviously resist. They claim it's about protecting intellectual property or safety or security.
But the argument is that it's really about controlling the lucrative repair market and ultimately pushing new sales.
That's the core argument, yeah. And it's gaining ground. We're actually seeing real legislative wins. Lots of U.S. states and regulators in Europe, too, are passing right-to-repair laws, especially for electronics. It makes it harder for companies to monopolize repair and helps things last longer.
That's really positive. What about other policy ideas, beyond just repair?
Well, there's a push to force manufacturers to design things differently from the start. Think about mandatory durability labels.
Like energy ratings on appliances?
Sort of, yeah. Imagine a label clearly telling you a product's expected lifespan or how easy it is to repair before you buy it. That instantly tackles the information asymmetry problem, makes durability a selling point again.
That makes sense.
And there may be even stricter laws against PO, making companies liable if they deliberately design things to fail too early or use software updates to brick older devices unnecessarily.
And then there's us, the consumers. Our choices matter too, right?
Absolutely. We can signal demand for products that last, choosing durability, even if it costs a bit more upfront, making informed choices.
Prioritizing things that are built to be repaired.
Exactly. And this encourages what people call circular economy models, moving away from that old take, make, use, dispose line
Right, the linear model.
towards a circle. Reuse, repair, refurbish, recycle, keeping materials and products in use for as long as possible.
And that's why things like resale markets are booming for clothes, electronics, everything.
Precisely. People are actively seeking out durable, sustainable options. It's like voting with your wallet against that old Phoebus Cartel strategy. It starts to shift the economic incentives for manufacturers.
Yeah, this focus on repair and reuse feels like the direct counter to the whole idea of planned obsolescence. It flips it from buy and trash to keep and maintain.
It's a fundamental shift.
Okay, so let's quickly recap the main points we've covered. Planned obsolescence, it's a deliberate strategy, goes back almost a century to the Phoebus Cartel messing with light bulbs.
Yep. Designed purely to limit lifespan and drive repeat sales.
And it shows up in different ways. Dynamic obsolescence through software limits, style obsolescence making things feel outdated, and good old built-in obsolescence where parts are just designed to fail.
Mastered by big players in tech, cars, fashion. Lots of industries, really,
Well,
all aimed at keeping us buying.
at a huge cost, though. Financially straining for individuals and environmentally devastating. Remember that 62 million tons of e-waste in 2022 alone.
A figure that's sadly set to rise.
But the fight back is real. Policy changes like right-to-repair laws, maybe mandatory durability labels, and consumer action pushing for circular economy models.
Yeah, embracing repair, reuse, and supporting movements like right to repair are absolutely crucial if we want a more responsible way of consuming. Closing that information gap is key.
Right. So, for you listening, here's something to think about. We live in this time of amazing technological progress, right? New stuff offers real improvements pretty often. As things keep speeding up, how do we, consumers, policymakers, strike that balance? How do we ensure innovation happens ethically alongside making things last and making them repairable? How do we stop this cycle just getting worse?
That's a tough balance.
And maybe more immediately. Now, next time you're buying something, what's one specific question you could ask about how long it's really expected to last? A question the manufacturer might prefer you didn't ask.